They appeared at the forest's edge like motes of light given sudden breath, dozens of tiny figures in battered mech helmets, each stripe of pigment on their masks glowing like lanterns against the gathering dusk. Gustave's hand tightened on his sword, uncertain whether to raise it or lower it in greeting. Then one of them, a wary imp with a wrench staff taller than its body, began to move in jerky, mechanical swivels that sent splatters of neon paint across the mossa-covered stones. Laughter, high, metallic, delirious, bubbled from the others, and in that moment the world felt less like a battlefield and more like the edge of a dream. They called themselves the Gestrals, tiny wooden figurines sprung to life, each brimmed with a bristly tuft of hair, like the tip of an artist's brush. Some stood as tall as a man's knee, others were no larger than a child's hand. It was said they were born from living paintbrushes and stiff wooden mannequins, given spirit by some long-forgotten magic. Despite their simple forms, hollow eyes and jointed limbs, they carried an uncanny spark of emotion. They were impulsive, almost dumb in their joy, yet capable of understanding sorrow or delight when it passed across a human face. When the expedition first entered their hidden vale, the contrast was almost surreal. The clearing was filled with colorful tents and wooden shacks, a makeshift market town that the Gestrals called home. In the dusty square, they bartered pigments in glass vials and exchanged tiny clockwork trinkets. A wizened elder strummed a guitar while children danced in circles, buds of paint flaking from their boots with every step. Elsewhere, a single pink Alsatian-haired Gestral whirled in place, utterly captivated by its own motion. The medieval gloom of Belle-Epoque ruins felt worlds away. Here nothing was solemn. Every Gestral seemed bent on carving a moment of delight out of the day. One might stop to perform a comical ritual, pounding a battered drum until its laugh like echoes faded, while another might practice mock combat, swinging a wooden plank as if in earnest. Defeat held no bitterness. Losing fighters would stagger to their feet, grin a gap-toothed grin, and press a rare item or a whispered rumor into the victor's hand. It was their peculiar way of saying hello. To one side of the bazaar stood the arena of seasoned warriors, their wooden limbs scarred from countless battles. Even the cook, a crusty grandmaster named Galgra, donned makeshift armor to accept challenges from eager sparring partners. Some strapped into clunky, scapitate suits, mechanical exoskeletons of scrap metal and twirling gears that amplified their lumbering punches. The clash of metal and wood rang through the vale, a sound at once comic and strangely stirring. When the party returned to their own camp that night, they found the Gestrals had followed. A cheerful figure named Sastro had claimed a secluded alcove by the campfire, arranging souvenirs and sketches with meticulous care. He explained, through a jumble of clicks, whistles, and urgent gestures, that members of his tribe were lost across the mainland. 9 in total, each scattered in distant ruins or sunken galleys, far from the safety of the bazaar. Thus began the hunt for the Lost Gestrals. Gustave, Mal, Loon, and Sile trekked through overgrown temples, crept along frost-clad ridges, and dove into shipwrecked hulls, searching for the tiny wanderers. Each time they found one, the rescued Gestral would cling to their shoulder or clasp their fingers in thanks before tumbling back to Sastro's camp. With every return, laughter and celebration greeted them, and with every rescued brush man came gifts. A new hairstyle mirroring that Gestral's tuft of hair, or a fragment of arcane pigment that, when applied by the heroes, shattered painted barriers deep in the fortress labyrinths. Finding all 9 unlocked a new power, dubbed Paint Break, allowing the party to carve through lethal spikes of hardened color that barred their progress in later dungeons. It became a badge of honor among the expedition team, a testament to the bond forged between human and Gestral. In the middle of their journey, the guide Verso confided that he had known one of these wooden sprites long before the expedition. Monoco, a grizzled veteran with a bristled mane and a single chipped helm, emerged from the crowd to greet his old friend. Verso had once saved Monoco from a collapsing tower, and now Monoco returned the favor, guiding the party along dangerous mountain passes and whispering the hidden names of safe campsites. Late in the third act of their tale, the group discovered a sacred river, its waters glowing with an otherworldly sheen. Here they performed an ancient rite to resurrect Noco, whom they had thought lost in an earlier skirmish. As droplets of luminescent water fell on the broken brush figure, Noco's eyes flickered open, and with a gasp of wooden joints, he scurried forward to rejoin his companions as though awakening from a deep sleep. By the time the final battle loomed, the Gestrals had become more than comic relief, they were indispensable allies. In the siege of Renor's crimson halls, their spontaneous ambushes of paint bombs and whirlwind skirmishes disoriented the enemy's magic-forged defenders. Their battle cries, an indistinct screech that translated roughly as, "Share the color," echoed through the corridors, breaking the dark enchantments that bound the immortal sentries. And when the paint-soaked dust settled, it was the Gestrals who stood amid the ruins, cheering and offering hand-carved trophies to their human friends. Their wide-eyed faces, lit by the glow of triumph, felt like a promise that art and laughter could endure even the weight of grief. In truth, they had always been more than living paintbrushes. They were the boy Verso's playthings, creations sprung from his first strokes on an empty canvas, friends given form and whimsy to stave off fear and loneliness. Even as the world around them dimmed, these wooden figures clung to joy, teaching all who met them that innocence can thrive in the face of loss. Long after the expedition folded its tents and set sail for home, stories of the Gestrals spread like pigment in water. Travelers spoke of midnight duels under lantern-lit skies, of wandering brush beings who seemed to vanish only to reappear when least expected. Artists painted frescoes of dancing Gestrals, and bards composed songs in their honor, weaving the phrase, "Share the color," into every chorus. No creature better captured the heart of that grand painted world. They were living tributes to the power of play, reminders that even the smallest figures can leave the brightest mark on history.